Hey, good morning everybody. This morning I just want to do a quick follow-up video on some of our content the last few days. Some folks are taking that as a bad thing, and it's not. And I also wanted to just answer some other questions. So first and foremost, the one question that I really wanted to answer that's been asked a lot of times is like, hey, why were you building new models and designing new things while you still had a backlog? And why are you focusing on that instead of the backlog? In short, we weren't planning on still having a backlog. When the decarburization thing happened last year, we had already had other plans. You could see we already were debuting the EDC series. We had a lot of materials on order that had long lead times that were arriving post decarburization. The thicknesses of those materials weren't suitable for other things. We don't have a big backlog in those thicknesses for other models. So it made sense to continue making the models we were going to be making with those materials anyway and swing back to catch up on some of the decarb stuff. So I hope that answers that question. There's nothing happened out of order. It's something happened and now we have to swing back around to grab that energy again. We were already on a trajectory planning to have our backlog wound down in Boise. So that's why you're seeing some of these things. We had already committed to some materials and different things and plans, assuming we were moving ahead, and instead that set us back. And that's gonna lead us back into the predatory lending situation. If you look back in my videos, I've been dancing around this for years. It's out there, it's very easy to get. And once we're done with this, I'll share receipts, I don't care. But looking at that and how that can affect us, nobody asked questions early on because we climbed out of the millet situation with that. We finished out as a manufacturing company the GSO 3.5s that we moved down there to have made, GSO 4.5s, all of the GSO 8s, GSO 6s, a lot of the GSO 10s. So we were very confident in our manufacturing ability as a new company when we had taken on some predatory lending to ramp up some production to climb out of this last year. If you guys look at the timing, the monies for all of that ramp up were predatory lending. If you look at where we were in production, we already had a bunch of GSO 5.1s and these different models in production. So we had already bought a ton of materials. When I say we lost 20 couple sheets of materials to decarburization, that was us. All right, we took out lending so that we could bootstrap. When we knew the DBK guys liked our knives, we thought, heck, this is great. So we ramped up and produced a lot of stuff that put us out on a huge limb. So when that blew up in our face and Peters Heat Treat didn't get behind the actual decarburization and Crucible and Niagara took no responsibility for that, that situation started eating us, and we had to work very aggressively to do what we could to salvage those parts, just to salvage the situation. It did nothing to move us ahead. It put us very much behind because that particular lending was 31 cents on the dollar. So that was extraordinarily expensive money to have a whole production run go wrong. As part of that lending, we had wrapped up our moving expenses. So when we had moving delays, decarburization, this predatory lending thing turned upside down, it really hurt us. So looking at that, that was terrible. It set us back a lot. So we knew after that going that wrong, we didn't want to do anything like that again. So we have all of these things we had already had planned to make. We made it as quickly as possible in here to get this through our production capacity so that we can get on the last of this backlog. This is not going to take us very long to do. Something else I would like to clarify. Like 99% of our backlog is already past heat treat and moving through grinding and finishing. We just had a few stalls with getting sheaths set up and things like that where we need to consolidate our energy so we can get all of this stuff out of here as quickly as possible. So a huge thanks to you guys who are supporting us, checking out the EDC4s. I saw you guys place a few pre-orders, which we have a lot of those numbers in here, and we'll be getting some other sheets of steel in the next couple of weeks to wrap up any last little bits of stuff that already isn't moving through finishing. So here over the next few days, we're gonna splay some stuff out on some tables and show you a lot of the GSO4s. We've got TSKs, EDC4s, oodles of extras of those. We've got tons of GSO 4.5s coming up. We have lots of GSO 5.3s, 4.7s, 5.5s. All of those things are over there already. We're just buying more materials to get everything on a sustainable trajectory again. So some people are confused. It's because all of those things happen and they're all true. And as we're wrapping this up now, I feel a lot more comfortable talking about it because I'm not as in a compromised position. So I hope that clears up some things this morning. Please know that most of this stuff's wrapping up, and these EDC4s and GSO4s that are coming up really short with delivery times, they're leaving along with pre-orders. You're gonna start seeing GSO4s leaving here this week as well, and GSO 5.1s leaving next week. That's also gonna, next week I'm starting to work on these GSO 10s and the last of the 12s. So just stand by here. We've got this in hand. This is actually a really good thing. And by not getting back into any predatory situations, I can plan really well. We know we're working hard. We know what our margins are. We know how fast we can go now. And we don't have something chasing us. So other than progress. So that's why we're doing this. That's why that's my position. This is a good thing. I hope people can see that. We're putting our energy back into our own boat instead of giving it to bankers and predatory institutions. I'll show you guys later. We've done like $400,000 of loans just with PayPal. So just know that I'm committed to this, and I was willing to do all of that because I knew some of these lessons were going to be expensive to learn how to do things where the other companies weren't able to follow through. It takes time. It takes R&D to figure out these things. We're still learning a lot, but we're doing a really good job on the fly now as we learn. So I hope that explains everything and clarifies a few things, but I'm gonna get back to work here. I've been working on flattening 5.1s, finishing blades, microtexturing handles, and sharpening. So I've got a dance here this week and over the next few weeks here as we get this closed out, but thanks so much for stopping by and lending me your ear there this morning, and we'll talk to you again soon.